Hey guys, welcome back to RHR Jen. Honk honk, everyone. I'm so glad you're here, guys. I'm so excited for you to see the next part of my sit down with John Witherspoon. We had such a good conversation. He's so much fun to talk to. I always enjoy having him on. We really go harder into the Harry and Meghan of it all, what Harry's been up to, more royal family stuff, all kinds of stuff. I think you'll really find interesting, and I'm excited for you to see it. So again, a huge shout out and thank you to John Witherspoon. He's wonderful, isn't he? He's so great and so easy to talk to, and I really enjoy having him on as a guest. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for being here. Now let's get into the next part of this sit down with John Witherspoon.
Again, there's an authenticity gap.
Yes,
which is huge between Catherine and Meghan.
You're exactly right. Yep, absolutely. And then you had brought up
except by the way, the authenticity gap disappeared when she recorded that video.
Yes.
To bring it full circle.
Yeah.
That was the real Meghan.
That was
What's that?
Was it there to begin with, though? Do you think that's what did it? Okay, yeah.
No, she's a professional actress.
Yeah.
She is a professional actress. And as HG loves to say, I won't go into the level of specificity that he does, but Meghan weaved some magic and cast some spells on Harry in the way that women can and do all on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And he just fell for the whole thing.
Yeah.
He just thought, oh well, she's the most magical woman that I've ever met. What could possibly go wrong? And when his brother apparently tried to tell him, hey, there's more to this relationship than just this certain type of magic that she can cast, he didn't want to hear it.
Yeah. He's hearing it now, I'm guessing. Well, no, he's not. He's still going, I think he's too prideful to admit it, but I wonder if in his darkest of moments he feels it, because it seems to wash over his face sometimes.
I think he feels it. I don't think he knows why he feels it, and I don't think he knows what to do about it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Probably that. And then you had pointed out a Whitney Houston song, Greatest Love of All. Why did you bring that song up?
Well, famous line. I bet there are a lot of people who are already ahead of me on this, but the famous line in that song, the famous verse, no matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what, Meghan? You played yourself. You took away your own dignity.
That's right.
You took away your husband's dignity as well, without him even understanding why or how you were doing it. But you played yourself. It's an own goal. You took away your own dignity. And that's another component of what we're talking about here, just in terms of the cringe factor. Why in the world would you do that to yourself?
Why?
She did it.
No.
Stepped right up and did it.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know. I can't. Yeah.
Yeah. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead, because the greatest.
Yeah, no. Well, actually, that's almost sort of relevant. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. Well, we know how Meghan does on that. Who loves Meghan more than Meghan?
That's right. That is true. Wow. Full circle. Well done.
Thank you.
Impressive.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I had some more questions for you. These are going to be more about Meghan's podcast, if you're up for that. Unless you have anything else to add about the twerking.
No.
Like, did you want to stand up and give a demonstration or something? I heard you taught twerking. Could you show us?
No, you heard wrong. Sorry to disappoint. Well, don't know where you heard that.
Mr. Pickle told me.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen my new friend? This is Ryan Gosling. He told me. Ryan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan is a sage goose, so.
He is. He tells me that. We have conversations. Don't ask. But no, I'd like to change gears to Meghan's podcast and just some general thoughts about Meghan. And then you had brought up some interesting points here I just wanted to bring back up, which is starting with Meghan on her podcast had brought up about women. Okay, she tried to turn it into a gender issue thing about women are taught not to talk about money. But the point you and I think we're making behind the scenes is, well, that's not, I don't find that to be the experience. I think it's more about we're all taught, we're all a
Yes,
little awkward about money, right? Like there's just certain things you don't discuss.
that's right. That's right. Everybody is taught not to talk about money. Why? Because it's tacky.
It's tacky. Yeah.
It's tacky, and it's also very boring.
Yes.
And it's like talking about, your visit to the podiatrist or something. Oh, I went to see the podiatrist and he looked at the bunion on my, it's like nobody wants to hear this.
Right.
Also, nobody wants to hear about what's going on in your bank account.
Mm-hmm.
If for no other reason, then nobody wants to know, to be reminded that you have X number of millions in the bank account when some other people might not.
That's exactly it. That's right. It becomes tone deaf. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not gracious. It's unsophisticated. It's all of the above. It's just not something that people with any class and culture and thoughtfulness about other people, it's just not something you do.
Right.
It's just not.
That's right.
It's just not.
Yeah, and again, it's like we had said from the Netflix show, it's taking a problem that doesn't exist and making it into one. So she's trying to turn this into a feminist issue without realizing, no, this is just an across the board. This is just etiquette. This isn't something that needs to be an issue. So I think it's a problem that doesn't exist. Yeah.
That's right. It is not a feminist issue. It's an interpersonal skills issue. It is a human issue.
Exactly. I mean, it'd be the same as saying women are taught not to ask about religion. Well, no, across the board, generally, you don't, politics and religion, you don't typically.
And race.
Yes,
and race.
Exactly. Right. And then Meghan, yeah. But Meghan makes it about, a
feminist issue. Correct.
Problems that aren't there.
Right.
Let's see, something else that it seemed to strike a chord a lot with you was Meghan complaining about making too much money. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, what a backhanded humble brag comment to make. Right. If that isn't the pinnacle, the peak of humble bragging, I don't know what is.
No.
Really, I cannot imagine a comment that is more profoundly a disguised humble brag. Mm-hmm. In the same way that, wearing all these expensive $5,000 outfits and the Cartier watch or wherever it's from and all this kind of stuff. And, oh, well, this is just what was in my closet, and I just threw this on. Come on. But I think I've mentioned before, regardless of what you think of Bill Gates, I have very mixed feelings about Bill Gates. I know other people do too. Yeah. But I think, to Bill Gates's credit, someone asked him what kind of a wristwatch he wore one time. He wears a Casio dive watch. Mm-hmm. I have the same watch. I'm not wearing it right now, but you can get it. It's like $42 on Amazon. He's like, I don't need to. Everybody knows everything that they need to about my wealth and the same thing. Warren Buffett driving around a 15-year-old Chevrolet or Oldsmobile or whatever it is that he currently drives. Like, why do I need a new car? I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody. Everybody knows exactly who I am and that I've got wealth. And I mean, Warren Buffett still lives in the same house in Omaha, Nebraska, that he's lived in, I think, for 30 or 40 years.
Oh my goodness.
He's not trying to, doesn't need to move to Montecito and prove anything to anybody.
Yeah, Elon famously couch surfs, right? So, yeah.
Right.
You're exactly right. But yeah, so Meghan's out there complaining about too much money. And if you guys didn't catch it, it was on her final episode, not the bonus one, but the last episode of the podcast. And to me, it's not even a humble brag. It's straight up brag, but also it is I hear it and I think screaming insecurity, because that whole people who are truly wealthy, exactly to your point, they don't need to discuss the
Money
same.
screams, wealth whispers.
That's it. That's
She's
exactly.
never heard that.
Yeah.
Never heard that. Money screams, wealth whispers.
You're right.
Totally lost on her.
Totally. Yeah.
And as I've said also, Jen, when we've talked, Princess Catherine and Prince William, when they get in their personal car, it's an Audi.
Mm-hmm.
It's not arranged. When they're driven around to official events, yes, they ride in Range Rovers. Good on them. No question, no quarrel with that. When they drive their personal car, it's an Audi.
Mm-hmm.
When they put on their royal whatever, yes, ostentatious, over the top, the whole 9 yards. Knock yourself out. You're the future king and queen of the British Empire. I get it. Don't have a single problem with that. When they go out and they get their picture taken at a farmer's market or at a grocery store or driving their kids to school, they have on polo Ralph Lauren shirts with a horse on them. You know, the same shirt that you and I could buy for whatever, $50. Mm-hmm. Go down to the department store. I'll take one of those. Great. End of story.
Right.
They don't care.
Yeah. Agree. Because what do they have to prove? It's proven.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. And if they did have something to prove, they wouldn't do it through their clothes.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do it through something as shallow and insignificant as their clothes.
That's it.
They would do it. And by the way, this speaks to a whole larger issue of Meghan and Harry and trying to tell the world what to think about various subjects.
Yeah.
They don't really have anything that they can talk about. Prince Harry, his recent trip to China.
Yeah.
Why did they invite him to come and speak to this forum? Is it because he's done great research? Is it because he's written a paper? Is it because he's written a book? Is it because he's made it his life's work? No. He has decided he needed a cause.
Yeah.
He picked saving the environment as his preferred cause.
Sure. While traveling around in private planes.
Yes. And the only reason that they picked him to come and talk to them was because of who his father is.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. Full stop. He is not an expert on anything, nor is she an expert on anything. That's part of the reason why people find her so tedious and boring and off-putting, is because she purports to be an expert and a thought leader. And she's invited to sit at a conference like South by Southwest. You talk about a bunch of boring people spouting platitudes, prepackaged nonsense.
Right.
To a bunch of people in the audience who are going to seal clap.
Like the Drew Barrymore audience.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. There are certain people who eat that up. Mm-hmm. I think most people have seen that routine and have heard what she has to say enough times. The dish soap story. How about something, that didn't take place when you were a teenager?
Right.
Is that what you really are going to hang your hat on? Mm-hmm. Because no one cares if they believe it at all in the first place. And a lot of people don't believe it ever happened, but it's neither here nor there. They are not, they purport to be thought leaders. They, we've got this initiative and that initiative. Nobody cares.
No.
Nobody cares, because at the end of the day, you're not moving the dial at all. You have not changed anybody's opinion. Nobody cares what you think. You just have hitched onto a bandwagon about a topic that you know that people will resonate with in some circles. Oh yeah, save the climate. I'm not judging the validity of climate change or any of that type of thing. I'm just saying they have contributed nothing to, Harry has contributed nothing to the body of work about climate change, other than to show up
and lecture.
and lecture people. And the only reason he's invited, as I said, is because of who his dad is.
No,
Period.
I agree. I agree completely. Let's see. Going back to so Meghan complained about too much money. You had said, let your accomplishments speak through your energy, your habits, your presence, not
That's
through your
right.
monologue.
Yes.
This is what
Yes.
people notice and what people care about, and stop the virtue signaling.
Absolutely. And that goes right back to the point that I just made.
Yeah.
If he had accomplishments, if either of them had major accomplishments, if they had contributed to the body of work about subjects that they think are important, I don't care if it's climate change or online safety for kids or whatever it is, they haven't done any of that.
You're right.
All they do is they show up and they run their mouth and they repeat things that other people have done. That and people are it's tedious, it's boring. People have heard it, it's been there, seen that, done that. Tuning out.
They look for causes to slap their name onto. It's like busy work or something. Yeah.
Yes. So. Very much so. Very much so.
Yep. And then you and I got such a kick, excuse me, about her terrible business advice. You're somebody who's been in business and have clients and stuff. And she's out there saying things like that. I sold out in less than an hour and I could restock and resell out, but I decided I needed to pull back and wait till 2026 before
meaningless.
Yes.
Absolutely meaningless.
What?
And just downright dumb. I don't know how else to describe it.
You're right.
There is no more valuable commodity as a business person than momentum.
Yeah.
Momentum. You've got energy. You're not stuck in place. You have inertia. You're in a car that's rolling downhill. Only good things can happen. But what do? You stop the car, you put on the parking brake, and you get out and you say, I need to reconsider all of this.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. It's genuinely remarkable.
It really is.
It
really is.
It's I don't know how else to describe it.
I'm going to call it idiotic. It is the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. And she's purporting to give business advice to people. That is the worst advice I've ever heard in my life. Most people don't have a golden parachute to fall back on. Like, you're working and you're praying that your business takes off.
Yes. Yes. And moreover, even if that was a decision that you wanted to take, about, I'm going to put a pause on this. Why would you open your mouth and talk about it?
I don't know.
Why would you spout that to the entire world?
Right.
Because people are going to go, huh?
Yeah. What? Wow. It really seems like you don't have your stuff together. Yeah.
Yeah. Make that make sense. Come on. It's really profound. It's profound. When I say profound, I mean profoundly perplexing is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You could not make worse business decisions. And you know who I credit where it's due. Brittany, Royal News Network, she bangs on about this all the time, appropriately so. I give her huge credit for saying this, that this is you could not take a set of decisions that are worse than the one, and string them together that are worse than the decisions that Meghan has made for herself, as far as her business enterprise, that she, allegedly wants to turn into $1 billion organization.
Yes, absolutely. But can't even keep her own story straight on what her product is, or what it's called, or what the mission is. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, and then the other thing that caught my ear the other day was that she was talking about, the next time around, we're not going to do consumable products or perishable products like, things that you would run out of and then need to replenish. she's going to go into other things that are more like durable goods, such as, and if you look at, I don't know what she said specifically, but if you look at her trademark application, which is still out there floating around, by the way,
Yes.
she's she wants to do things like tableware, knives, forks, and spoons, napkins, tablecloths, gardening gloves.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you, once you've bought knives, forks, and spoons for your breakfast table, how often do you need to go out and re-buy those things?
You're exactly right.
One of the reasons why Coca-Cola is such a valuable business is that people who, yes, right there, you keep running out of it. You need more. You need more. Mm-hmm. So it's bad enough that she's selling consumable products like spread that people would run out of and that they might buy more of, assuming that they thought it was worth paying more for and so forth. Now you're going to pivot away from that, apparently, and get into things that are once every 10 years, once every 4.
Right, exactly.
I could not begin to tell you the last time that I bought knives, forks, and spoons for the dinner table.
No, not at all. No. Same. Mm-hmm.
It's, I mean, it just.
Even if you wanted to get into that, if your dream was to make knives, forks, and spoons, if you already have a customers ready to go that want to buy your other goods, isn't your instinct to be like, well, I'm going to sell what people want to buy, and then eventually I'll parlay some of that into exploring knives, forks, and spoons?
Absolutely. And that gets back to the comment about momentum.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
That's what people have done. Her buddy Jamie
Lena.
Yes, that's how she built up her thing. Her cosmetics business. Yeah, and that's what Gwyneth Paltrow did. She, you get people's attention. You sell them things. They think, oh, this stuff isn't bad. You present new things to them, and you think maybe the people, and if you have trust between yourself as a purveyor and your customer base, then people might say, okay, well, I'm going to get some more raspberry spread, but you know what? Maybe I'll get one of these little decorative plates as well. Or maybe, I'll sure, if I need free shipping, I'll throw a pair of gardening gloves in there.
Yep.
And I'll give those a shot. And, this is how you build a business.
That's it.
It strikes me, in my opinion, my view, she could not be more counterproductive in what she's doing.
I completely agree.
And again, this is what Brittany talks about all the time on the regular, to her great credit. By the way, since I'm calling out other creators, there's a young woman, I wish I could remember her name. She has a channel called The Swish.
Okay.
Please go over there and visit her channel. If you find that Meghan is a very offensive person, you will love this young woman whose channel is called The Swish. She basically, and she even, it's remarkable. She not only has this channel, she actually has a magazine, a hard, tangible printed page magazine. And her focus is all about classical femininity.
Okay.
Which again, if there's one thing that Meghan is not, it's classically feminine.
Mm-hmm.
She couldn't do it if she tried in a million years. And by the way, again, back to the business about Catherine. Catherine is a classically feminine woman in all of the best ways.
Yeah.
And it's not to say she's.
It's not a negative. Yeah.
It's not a negative in any way. It's a wonderful, beautiful thing. That's why people love her so much. Anyway, go over and check out this YouTuber. Her channel is called The Swish. If you can't stand Meghan, I think you'll really like that channel. I have no ties. I've never talked to her. I've only seen about 2 of her episodes, but she really does great things.
If you do, say that you're from RHR Jen, so that way she knows.
Yes.
I'd like to talk to her. So yeah, that's cool.
Right. She's great. And she's one of those people too, and I have to say this, there's a lot wrong with the world right now in a lot of ways, we won't go into all the details. I know we all have a grievance of some sort with things. Boy, the world is really messed up in this or that regard. When you see somebody like Catherine or this young woman whose channel is The Swish, and you think to you can only think to yourself, you know what? I'm so glad that there are people like this around who are telling not their truth, but the truth in a lot of ways. And they're so likable and they're so enjoyable and they're so compelling.
Yeah.
And they do such good work and they work so hard at it that you can't help wanting to celebrate the level of excellence that they're trying to bring to their endeavor. And, and this girl in The Swish, I think she said the other day, she's in her mid-20s. But so refreshing to see people like that. I mean, like I said, I'm sure people get the idea. Just go check out her stuff. It's really, really good.
I do want to pay you a compliment, even though it pains me to do so. And say, I know, here it comes. No, to say, in case people don't know, that's how you and I met. Is because you were on another creator show and you were kind enough to shout me out when I was much smaller. I don't know if you remember this.
I do vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Yes. And so you gave me the kindest shout out and people actually came over and said, hey, this attorney shouted you out. And so I happened to get your contact information and email you and say, you know what? I really appreciate that because I know for me, like I didn't have anybody shouting me out. So that was a big deal. So I'm always on board. If you ever have anybody good you want to shout out, I think that's a good thing.
That's so nice of you to bring that up. I do remember that. And thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm sure it was heartfelt at the time as well, because I've always enjoyed your content even before we started to collaborate. And I've always found it entertaining and interesting and thought provoking. And so, yeah.
Thank you. Well, now it's gone downhill because of my caliber of guests.
Okay.
Just kidding. It's just funny to go back and think it's been a while now, but that's actually how we met. It's because you're on another creator show and you shouted me out, and I appreciate that. And that stuck with me. And I think it was more than once that you did too. And I was like, that is so cool. It kind of broke my brain a little bit. You were one of the ones that shouted me out. So thank you very much.
Well, people are the YouTube space is so fascinating to me. And there are some creators. I know I've talked several times about Cheer Denise, who's also here in the DC area. So smart, so likable, so funny. If you ever want to really laugh, she does a Harry imitation that is beyond hilarious. And she also has her Harry imitation is, I mean, she's clearly making fun of him. Her Diana imitation is even more profound and perfect. Her Diana imitation is designed to sound exactly like Diana. And she is brilliant at her Diana imitation, absolutely positively. And like I said, a very likable person as well. If you haven't ever latched onto Cheer Denise's content, it's well worth looking at. And I've been on with Kinsey and so many really, really hardworking, talented people just like you, Jen, and they all deserve to be shouted out. Somebody said recently I should make a list of all of them. Somebody asked me, it's like, well, who are your favorite creators? And what else do you look at besides things having, when you can't take Harry and Meghan anymore and you want to distract yourself, who is it that you look at? And I thought, oh my gosh, the list would be crazy. It would, I mean, so much good stuff.
You and I have one in common that was so random. Do you remember the girl that walks around London, Hannah Ricketts?
Hannah Ricketts, yes.
I love her. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
And you said you watch her. I was like, wow, that's really cool.
Well, she's such a delightful person, and she always brings such interesting content. She goes into restaurants, she stays in hotels, she walks around in gardens and things. It's just kind of like, all right, well, I'm going to eat my lunch. There's Hannah. She's put out, I think she does Tuesday and Fridays. And she works really hard.
She does. And she's great. She'll show like holiday events around London and things. I love hearing
Yes. She goes into the hotels and has teas at high tea at Christmas time and so forth. And it's, and she brings her sister on and the guy, Jamie, not Jamie Kearns Lima, I can't remember his last name. It just escaped me.
Probably
Who,
made up name anyway.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think. Oh, Jamie Larder is his last name. He's a UK guy. He had a dog. He had a husky named Sherpa,
Okay.
and he used to walk. He used to go on it. He just goes on these adventures with the dog, and the dog passed away, and now he's on a road trip right now up in Scotland. He has a van that he can camp in this back of this Ford van that he has.
Yeah.
And he's up in Scotland right now, and he's hiking up mountains and so forth. And then he anticipates going over to Switzerland and so forth. And he's just a really interesting person to enjoy as a person. He shows people around the inside of his home, and like I said, everybody loved the dog, and the dog passed away, and now it's just him, and he has this tremendously likable personality. Cool. His channel is called Sherpa's. I think it's Sherpa's Day. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so many people out there that are doing such good stuff.
Yes, I think so too. And I have to plug, if you're sick of the Harry and Meghan stuff, hold on, I've got it right here. I do have Goose Adventures. It's my weight loss channel. So I've been talking over there about.
Have you lost weight, Jen?
I have a few pounds. About
how many pounds? How many pounds have you lost?
I wish I could tell you exactly. I would say about 140.
Wow.
Give or take, yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
How many stone is that?
That is 9 stone.
Wow.
9 stone, and I did it drug-free and surgery-free. How about that? So I'm telling how I did it and what I did. And, I've had so many requests to say, what do you eat? So I'm working on a video about that and, all that stuff. So check it out at Goose Adventure if you're interested in that sort of thing. It's such a good community, though. I really am enjoying it over there. I feel I love this channel, don't get me wrong, but over there it's just different because it's, I feel like I'm helping people in some way. So that makes me feel good. So
that's great.
Thanks.
I'm sure you are helping people. That's trying to lose weight is one of life's great challenges for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. I did it alone, and so it was hard. So if I can help people not do it alone, then I feel like I'm doing good. And I've actually already had people telling me that they've lost weight in the few weeks I've been posting videos on it. So that makes me feel really good.
That is great.
Really good. Yeah, absolutely. So John, something else that we had talked about offline, you had mentioned about business strategy versus tactics in regard to Meghan. What are your thoughts there?
Well, again, in talking about Brittany from Royal News Network, I believe that she's the one who mentioned this, but I think it's a great point that bears repeating in terms of the difference between strategy and tactics. Strategy is your big picture view of where you are, where you want to go, and how you want to get there. Tactics are the individual decisions that you undertake and decisions that you make in support of your overall strategy that you have in place. And what Meghan seems to be doing is operating without a strategy. She just keeps making tactical decisions about, okay, well, I'm going to have American Riviera Orchard. No, I've changed my mind. Now I'm going to have As Ever, and I'm going to sell this tranche of SKUs, as she likes to say. And now I've changed my mind. I'm not going to do another round. It's
going to be spread. Yes.
Jam is my jam. Oh, well, guess what? It's not my jam after all. Spread is going to be my jam. And then now the latest was, we're not going to do necessarily more flour sprinkles and jam or spread and crepe mix. We're going to do maybe durable goods and so forth. Anyway, the point being that she does not have a long-term strategy from all outward appearances. She just seems to be very impulsive, very sort of spastic in terms of boom, boom, boom. There's not a connection between the decisions that she makes. It all just seems to be sort of scattershot without any true strategy for a long-term success. And as people say, and Lady C says this constantly when she's talking to Dan Wooten, talks about Meghan thought she was going to bag the elephant in terms of being set for life financially. She wanted to be she thought Harry was going to deliver her unlimited wealth and riches. Guess what? Lo and behold, he doesn't have anywhere near what she thought he had. That's not to say he's a pauper, but he doesn't have anything near what she had hoped and dreamed that he would have. And so now she's had to go back into sort of street fighting mode and try the grift and the hustle and everything else as people have characterized it. And so it's even more surprising that she does not have a strategy. Somebody else recently said something along the lines of, this business enterprise that she claims to be supporting and trying to build, it's like she's playing in the sandbox with all this money. She's not building anything long-term.
That's it.
She may think she is, I don't know. But the reality is that she's not building any kind of a business enterprise at all. And notwithstanding the fact that she's flying around private jets and all this kind of stuff at $5,000 an hour and whatever, and she's paying lawyers. I don't know what her lawyer charges per hour, but it could easily be in excess of $1,000 an hour because the very, very top lawyers in their fields, and I believe her trademark attorney qualifies in this way. She's probably paying in excess of $1,000 or $1,100 or $1,200 an hour to that attorney, in a lot of cases with absolutely nothing to show for it in terms of American Riviera Orchard. And she's buying all these fancy clothes, and whether she's selling them on eBay is anybody's guess. But she is living a lifestyle that is very inconsistent with the level of success that she is trying to have.
Agree. And I think it's just, again, where my psychology background comes into play, and I completely get fascinated by it, is she's doing all this while lecturing people on how to be a business owner, how to be a female founder. It's she won't even let the guests who have positive experiences speak. She speaks over them to talk about herself. So,
well, this is why nobody can stand her podcast, because not only is there not good information, but to the extent that there is good information, she just blows right through it.
That's right.
She could actually, with all of these people that she has on, she could learn a hell of a lot of good information, but she just blows right through it. That's what makes people, want to pull their hair out listening to that podcast.
You're right.
Is that there is information there that she could actually benefit from internalizing, but she doesn't do it.
She won't do it. Yeah. That would require active listening to somebody else and asking thoughtful questions, and she can't do it.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. It's amazing. It's genuinely amazing. It is. I think so often of a friend of mine who used to get very frustrated with people, one person in particular, and he just got so fed up with this person on one occasion, and he just lost it, and he blurted out, "You are science fiction. You are science fiction." This is a person who had a very unflattering habit of saying, this is a male who had a very unflattering habit of making inappropriate comments to women.
Oh, no.
He had no concept of what he was saying and the fact that it might be offensive if he made an overt comment about some girl's anatomy.
Oh, gosh. Uh-huh.
That's what the gist of the comments were. Right. And so I could tell this other guy was very fed up, and he finally, when this girl left, he's like, "Do you realize what you just said? You are science fiction." And I think about him every time there's something else that comes to light about Meghan and Harry. It's like, you guys are science fiction. Normal people do not behave and think and say with the things that you do.
You're exactly right. And what's funny is I just called Meghan science fiction because she just announced she's doing that science. It's like a science museum. They're having a gala.
Oh, right. Out in Los Angeles. Right.
Yeah, that's science fiction. This is not real. What is it? Because they said she empowers women and helps underserved communities. What, by charging $15 for flower sprinkles? What? How? What are we talking about?
Listen, I will say this. I made this point again. I made this point in the past, and I'll make it again right now. I've had the great fortune to be around some great female bosses. I have had the great fortune to be in the company of some very competent women, not only in a professional setting, but also, when I was in law school, law school classes now are, I think, over 50% women. Some truly outstanding women were classmates of mine when I was in law school. I never heard any of them complain that, there's a glass ceiling, I'm not going to be paid as much. None of that stuff.
Yeah.
They were fully comfortable in their own skin. They were very comfortable in their own ability. They embraced their femininity. You think about somebody like Camille Vasquez, who was the attorney who examined Amber Heard in the Johnny Depp trial. Do you think she runs around all day complaining like Meghan does about how the world is screwing her over because she's a woman?
No, she's out there working her rear end off. Yeah.
And because she's a minority, because she's Hispanic.
Right.
Can you imagine?
No.
Never. If she does have those, and if she does have those thoughts, I guarantee you she keeps them to herself because she knows nobody's interested in hearing this.
Right.
I'm not trying to say that there aren't instances where people are.
Of course.
I mean, the whole Harvey Weinstein of it all and the Jeffrey Epstein and all that stuff, everybody gets it. Yes, this happens and it's totally unacceptable.
Yeah.
But for the vast majority of people, it's a non-factor. It's a nothing burger. And again, she thinks that she is a thought leader and just like the two of them. Oh, we're leaders in thought and action and everything. Nothing could be further from the truth.
No, they're out there allegedly buying awards for things like this while not actually doing anything, while the rest of us are out there working our A's off, like actually doing the thing. So yeah.
Yes.
Spare me the lecture.
When you get your check from YouTube, Jen, do you look at it and you say, "Uh-oh, I probably got less than Dan Wooten does because I'm a woman"? No. Does that thought cross your mind?
Not even a little bit. It's just woohoo! Thank God I have a job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think this again is why. And again, I'm not trying to say that this does not happen.
Sure. Right.
But I think in the vast majority of cases, it's not even something that people give a second thought to.
No.
The world is not in the business of creating victims in the way that Harry and especially Meghan claim that it is. It's just not. Just
and
not.
It goes back to my theory of creating problems that it's not that this one doesn't exist, but in their world don't exist, and she's trying to make a solution for that nobody needs.
Right. Yeah. And then to trot out said solution as her raison d'etre.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is why I'm here. Look at what I'm doing. I'm solving all these problems. Throw me a parade, give me an award, whatever it is. Put me on the cover of, put Anna Wintour, put me on the cover of Vogue.
Yes.
Sorry, no, we're not going to do that.
I have a video about that coming out in a couple days. You're right.
Oh, good.
Yes.
But
no, you're exactly right. You're spot on. I have to say spot on. So another point you brought up was offended by everything. And then you can finish this quote. Do you remember what you said? I think this applies to Meghan and Harry.
Offended by everything, accountable for nothing.
That's
or something. Something along those.
Ashamed of nothing. Yeah.
Ashamed of nothing. Exactly. Well,
accountable works too, though.
Yeah. But what are we talking about? Why are we having this conversation today? The twerking video, the lap dance video,
that's right.
The simulated lap dance video, in the opinion of many people. It's what it sure looks like that.
It does.
Offended by everything, ashamed of nothing.
Yeah.
Couldn't have characterized it better. Absolutely, 100%. That's what that video is. All you need to know.
I think so too. And then I think the last note under this point was the renewal of the show. You called it something that I found very funny.
Yes, the immaculate renewal.
That's right. Because
no apparent reason for the renewal. It just materialized out of thin air. Not because the first season got great ratings, not because, oh my gosh, people wrote letters to Netflix and said, we need more, bring it on.
Innovative new ideas like balloon arches. We need more. No. Not at all. Immaculate renewal.
So I consider that the second season, and who knows? Apparently, there's rumors that there's going to be a third season.
I've heard that. Oh.
Where's my? I don't know. I need something to sedate my. Yeah, I need to sedate myself somehow. But what's that song? I want to be sedated.
I was just thinking that. Yeah, the Ramones, I think, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think it is the Ramones. Anyway, the immaculate renewal. No one can figure out why it's being renewed, but it is being renewed, allegedly.
No one can figure out why Netflix keeps throwing money at the pair of them. I don't know.
Well, and the prevailing theory on all that is that Ted Sarandos is just trying to keep the boiler stoked until divorce time, at which point he wants to swoop in and.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
That seems to be a widely held theory that he's just trying to keep the contact alive.
Well, if
keep the line open.
If Meghan got wind of that, then she would want to sprinkle in. It's coming to keep him on the hook. You would think. Keep Ted on the hook. I meant.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. But when you said that, it made me start laughing, and I started thinking about immaculate renewal, and then I started thinking about Wiseman, and I thought, Harry's the opposite of that. So
irony.
That's right.
Irony.
That's right. And speaking of Harry, we had some interesting thoughts on Harry, and the question that popped into my head that I wanted to ask you is this: do you think Harry married beneath him, or did Harry marry his equal?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Really interesting question.
Thank you.
And again, one of those questions that is so multi-layered.
That's right. And real quick before you answer, I want to take credit. I've seen other people discussing this as well, but tell me in the comments, do you guys think Harry married beneath him, or did he marry his equal? I want to know. Okay, John, please, what do you think? There are many layers, and there's many ways to answer this question. What does your instinct tell you? What does your gut tell you?
I'll just say this off kind of the top of my head. I think he married his equal in terms of victimization, self-reported victimhood. He has a partner in crime that is more than willing to go toe-to-toe with him in terms of being a victim. I think he married up in terms of intelligence.
Okay.
I think he married up in terms of finding someone who could manipulate a lot of things, including him. I think he married down in terms of someone whose native, innate sophistication is below his, as we've talked about. I think when the mask slipped and they decided to make that video, I think that was her true colors showing through.
I think so too.
That's what I would start with. What I would start with.
I would agree.
He certainly married down in terms of elegance and class, and in terms of finances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting question. Very interesting question.
I think
Because it is so multifaceted, multi-layered.
therein lies the beauty and frustration of it, I think. Yeah, I think so. But no, I agree with everything you've said. I think he married up in terms of, I think Harry's very lazy. I think he just wants to be flown to these places to give a stupid speech and then get the hell out of there. Otherwise, he'd be visiting these places on his own. He doesn't do that, as we've learned, from allegedly from Cinnabale and things. So,
well, my opinion is that they're both very lazy, and it's not only because of the comments from the man at Spotify, they're effing grifters.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes, but also here's the other thing. She really let her guard down when she was talking to Jamie Kern Lima. Is it Kern or Kearns?
Kern.
Okay, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And she talked about, I work so hard. Yeah. I work so hard. Guess what, Jen? You work really hard. I work really hard. The whole world works really hard. When this came up the other day, I was thinking to myself, I don't think I've ever had a job that was a 9-to-5 job. Mm-mm. I don't think I've ever had a job where I was working for somebody else where I didn't work 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
Minimum. And that was the expectation. This was not an hourly position, by the way. These are salaried positions.
Yeah, absolutely.
You work until the work is done.
That's it.
And I can see people nodding in the audience. I'm quite confident of that. Mm-hmm. There are people who have 2 jobs, 3 jobs. And by the way, they're not desk jobs usually either. They are things like working at McDonald's or, cleaning offices or whatever it is. So for Meghan to blow her own horn about how hard she works,
I know,
is so offensive to the vast majority of people, and even people who do work an 8-hour shift. Mm-hmm. If for no other reason than they're, for instance, like in a nursing position where it's like we've got 24 hours to cover, and so we're going to do that with 3 people each working 8 hours. Great. Those people are working super hard.
Yeah.
This is in no way to throw shade on people who are working an 8-hour shift on a regular basis.
No, you could accomplish what Meghan accomplishes in 8 minutes. So yeah.
Yes. And then, of course, and then the 2 of them report that they only work an hour a week on Archwell.
I know.
And then she listed off all of that stuff that, I'm trying to do this, and I'm thinking about what the next tranche of SKUs is and what the next product is going to be dropping, and I'm captioning my Instagram posts, and come on. This is genuinely offensive to the vast, vast, vast majority of people who have a job in the entire world. Somebody told me one time, and I've always remembered it. I was working in an office, and the person said, don't ever think that at the end of 10 hours that you go home any more or less exhausted than the lady who comes in and runs the vacuum cleaner and empties the garbage can under your desk. Mm-hmm. You both go home equally tired. She may be more physically tired. You may be more mentally exhausted and worn out. But you both have worked very, very hard. Anyway, so the point being, for Meghan to talk about, I work so hard, as though that's a badge of honor. Get over yourself. That is genuinely offensive to anybody who has ever had a job. I know very, very few people who loaf their way through their workday. It just doesn't exist.
You're right.
And there are people who do things like, I saw a video a couple of months ago of somebody who was working on an assembly line. Speaking of your buddy, Mr. Pickle there, this person was a whole group of people were sorting pickles to put them into the jars of pickles that you get at the supermarket. You talk about an exhausting, mind-numbing job, and these people were thrilled to be there. Here's the other thing that always drives me nuts, and I always have my antenna up. I rarely have my antenna up across a wide array of things, but this is always on my radar screen, and I'm always alert to it. When somebody does something, they try to produce something, or they write something, or whatever or they try to run a business, and things go south, in large part because of the person's own ineptitude, and their comment is, but I worked so hard on it. No one cares how hard you worked on it. If you walked in a circle for 8 hours, that doesn't mean you accomplished anything, unless, of course, you're trying to get steps in, which is a whole different subject. We'll leave that one go. But
That's right.
you know, a different way of putting that is, don't mistake activity for accomplishment.
That's it.
So Meghan can crow all she wants about, oh, I've worked so hard and I've tried all these things and I'm so exhausted and I'm a mother and I'm juggling all these things and I'm flying all around and I had meetings the next morning, but I cuddled with Archie because he had lost all night long because he had lost a tooth. Congratulations. You have done exactly what the rest of the world has been doing for generations. Get over yourself. And again, the only conclusion that you can draw from that is that she is clueless, and she has come from an environment. I bet her dad, the one thing I don't know a lot about Hollywood, but what I can tell you is that the people that I know in Hollywood work extremely hard, regardless of what you think about their demands for contracts and all this kind of thing. But they all work extremely, extremely hard. If you're a writer, if you're doing something technical like her dad did as a lighting designer on a television show, those are exhausting, exhausting jobs. And to the extent that Meghan talks about the fact that she's just absolutely just on her last nerve at the end of the day, and her last ounce of strength, it is absolutely, it's not only laughable, but it is genuinely offensive, especially when you look at the end product of what she has to show for all of this hard work that she has put in. It is absolutely insane. And it's another reason why people look at her and they say, I am exhausted. People are talking now, the word fatigue has cropped into common conversations in so many different ways, of different subgroups of the population. We're also fatigued of them and so forth. And when people talk about being fatigued of Harry and Meghan, it's exactly the same thing. It's like, get over yourself, shut up, go and do something that is genuinely productive to make the world a better place, rather than just fly around and give speeches and lecture to the rest of humanity on how you think things ought to be. I guarantee you, here's the other thing too. Royal Grift talks a lot about the censorship industrial complex and so forth. And to the extent that Aspen Institute and all of these other entities are bringing Harry into the mix, and what's the place called BetterHelp, where Harry is the chief impact officer? Give me a break. They are no more interested in what comes out of Harry's mouth than they are about hearing a speech from a cab driver. If you have, last time I was in it, thank God, the greatest thing ever for Uber was that the driver's not allowed to talk to you unless you actually start the conversation. The last time I was in taxi cab, I got an earful and I thought, I am so not interested in what this man has to say, but I don't want to offend him by telling him to keep it to himself. But the same mentality pervades everything that Harry does and that Meghan does in terms of lecturing to the other and giving their opinion. No one cares about your opinion,
and
Harry.
what makes you qualified to talk to anybody about anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's, again, he's famous because of his father. She's famous because of his father. End of story, full stop. Nothing else needs to be said. Plain and simple. They are not thought leaders.
Not at all. Nope. Not at all.
If they write, if they want to write research papers and talk about something that is truly new and unique and useful and thought-provoking, I'll be the first one to look at it, along with a lot of other people.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
I read Spare. It's not going to happen.
Yes. Right.
I lost value. The last few brain cells I have, I lost reading Spare.
Right. Right. Right.
Another question I have, and this one could be taken several ways. I'm just curious your thoughts. Do you consider Harry to be an alpha male? Do you think he's a beta male?
Absolutely a beta male.
Okay.
Absolutely, he's a beta. He's a beta.
Beta male.
Because for everything that we talked about to begin with his participation in that video, in the twerking, the hospital video. Mm-hmm. No alpha male would make an ass of himself like that.
Yeah.
And no alpha male would allow his wife or his significant other, girlfriend, who I don't care who it is, or even one of his male friends.
Yeah.
They would say, "What the hell are you thinking about?"
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't be a jerk. And I don't care if, people will say, I'm sure, oh, well, he served in the military. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. Oh, he knows how to shoot a gun. He allegedly knows how to fly helicopters and airplanes. I don't care. He's not a leader. He's a follower. He's a follower.
If it's not evident anywhere else, look at how she leads him around in crowds. What adult needs to be told when it's time to stop shaking hands with somebody or visiting with somebody? I think that's a ridiculous thing. And I don't care if it's a guy doing it to a girl or a girl doing it to a guy. If you're a grown-up, you know how to handle yourself, hopefully, in a conversation. That's ridiculous.
You're absolutely right. It is not a gender role defined issue. It is a human to human interpersonal issue.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're all human beings first. Mm-hmm. And then we're a lot of other things. Rich, poor, male, female, educated, not so educated, white collar, blue collar, you name it.
Sure.
But at our very core, we're humans. Mm-hmm. And to treat other humans the way that she treats other humans is very indicative, and to be treated as a human in the way that he is treated by her is very indicative of how he is wired up.
A huge thank you to John Witherspoon. Thank you, John, for your time, for your patience, for your kindness, for answering all the questions and just talking through all this Harry and Meghan nonsense with me. It means the whole wide world. I sincerely appreciate it. I really do. Isn't he nice? He's so easy and fun to talk to. Be sure to leave your comments on your thoughts on all this. Make sure to come back tomorrow as the next part of this will be up. Again, a huge thank you to John Witherspoon. Make sure you check out his Instagram, Witherspoon DC, over on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to bring you more stuff like this. Have the best day. Bye-bye.